Let's get into Johan Rojas next, since he did have a longer time with the Phillies before we get into Austin Hayes. So for Yo-Ro, as I call him, Johan Rojas played 120 games this past season. He had splits of a 243, 279, 322, and then a 69 OPS plus. Johan had a total of 3 home runs, 32 RBIs, 18 extra base hits, and 25 stolen bases. He also finished in the bottom 5% in hard hit percentage and
walk percentage.
Exit velocity.
Exit velocity, yeah.
I'm like, what is EV? Exit velocity and hard hit percentage and walk percentage. There we go.
Good.
That's not great at all. So for center fielder Johan Rojas, how do you grade him? It's a tricky one because, again, I'm going based off of expectation. As you know, Johan Rojas is someone near and dear in my heart that I really try to root for. I even gave him a nickname.
You gave him a nickname, yeah.
I even gave him a nickname. And so because of that, he automatically gets an A+. And I'm just kidding. I don't know what to grade him. I kind of toyed back and forth. No, I kind of...
I changed it.
From my gut. So I have agreed. For me, for Johan Rojas, we don't expect him to be the offensive... He's not going to be a power hitter. He's not going to be someone that's got anything offensively that he can contributes. But it's not an excuse. You know, like I think for everybody, whether it was Garrett Stubbs is just the vibes guy or Johan Rojas is just the defense guy, at the end of the day, this team, in order for them to win, you need to be able to improve on those areas. Did Johan Rojas improve this season? Sure. The start of the season for Johan Rojas, he had a rough beginning where the first half of the season had a split of 231, 267, 298 with a WRC plus of just 58. That was heading into the All-Star break. As we know, then the Phillies moved him down to AAA mid-June. It was June 17th. And then after being recalled from the Lehigh Valley, he actually seemed like he took some steps forward. Yeah. So after coming back in his next stretch, his splits were 382, 417 with a .917, a home run, and 34 at-bats. So the next 34 at-bats were great for Johan Rojas. And to be honest, down the stretch, he wasn't a guy, he didn't help you at all, but he wasn't the one that was killing you. But that's debatable. But then you got to the playoffs, and he was one that was an automatic out. So for me, for Johan Rojas, the offense did improve. The defense was lights out, which we expected in the second half of the season. He still had some moments, where he seemed a bit timid and hesitant, especially after that play early on when he ran into the wall. And then remember after that, he became a little bit hesitant with his center field play and was kind of like second guessing himself. I'm going to give Johan Rojas a C+.
Oh. All right, I think we have role reversal here.
Oh, are you higher? You're lower.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to give him a C+ strictly because he's not... It's the complete opposite of Kyle Schwarber. Like, I'm grading him with less expectation, but I still think that he needs to be someone that gives you more. Like, it's not enough. It's been a whole season that you've had a chance to play 120 games. You need to find a way to give better offense, or else you're not going to be an everyday starter. Your role is going to be lost if you can't figure out a way to give better offense, because this team needs someone that can give you play on both sides of the ball. So I'm going to stick with a C+ as like my final answer, I think, for Johan. Could be also talking to like a C, but I don't think he's the guy that this team, you're not winning and losing games behind Johan, but he still needs to be better.
My original grade I wrote down was a C-. I changed that this morning to a D+.
We are reversed.
Look, yeah, the expectation thing is fair, and you're not looking for Johan Rojas to be a 750 OPS guy that bats 320 and drives in 75 RBIs. So you do look at him through that prism, but I also looked at him through the prism of this is a major year and a major opportunity for him to show you that he can give you more offense than what he's shown in the past. His defense is otherworldly, right?
Yeah.
Like the best in baseball. His speed, his tracking of the balls, he's great. So defensively, like A+. Speed on the base pass when he does get on there, again, like A+. That's
some of
great.
His base running's not great, but yeah.
Yeah, his base running mentally probably some different, but like the speed on the pass and just the athleticism is wow. That being said, it's 2 postseasons in a row where he's been an automatic out come the playoffs. They gave him every opportunity to take the job and run this year. And the reason it's a D+ ultimately for me is because I don't want him to be the center fielder next year.
D+ for don't come back.
Yeah, like kinda, like pretty much. It's nothing against the kid. You know, teams will have interest in him. He can salvage. I don't even know if salvage is, that might be too harsh a word. He can keep a major league career going. I just don't necessarily want it to be here. The defense can change a team, but like I think the Phillies right now just can't have that offensive hole in the lineup. I mean, his OPS was 600, which was slightly better than I thought this year, but his batting average 243, 279 on base. If you had told me that prior to the year that he was going to hit 243, I probably would have said, yeah, I'll take it. 273 OBP, like that's just terrible. I just need more. It's nothing really, like his offensive game is what it is. I don't think it's going to get better. It's just me kind of making a move on from Johan Rojas. I just think you need more offensively from your center fielder. You can't have 2/3 of the outfield be what it was this year.
Yes.
So, like, to me, somebody's going to have interest in Rojas. If you can move him for, you know, that 4A type of player, maybe a major league bench player. I don't know. Like, I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah. I think that's ultimately why, for me, he's a C+, because I also feel like he just shouldn't be out there as much as he is. And that's not his fault.
Yeah.
That's on the team needed to
team needs somebody
bring in
that
a
can
better
grind
center
out
fielder.
some at-bats for
so
you.
he'd be a fine defensive bench piece.
And if Kyle Schwarber does stay in the leadoff, you need your 9-hole hitter to be that grinder, a guy that can have a better than a 273 on base. Like you need somebody that can get on base at like a near 300 clip or a 310 clip to take advantage of Schwarber in the leadoff. So it's not really like his fault per se. I just don't see it working with this lineup.
And he was another guy that struggled, of course, in the postseason. He didn't have as many at-bats as others. He only had 5, but just 1 hit in that at-bat. Last postseason, he had 4 total hits in his 43 at-bats in the postseason.
Yikes.
So to your point of like
back-to-back
playoffs that he
drives me
struggled.
nuts.
He can't bunt. He doesn't give you anything offensively. I just don't think he should be out there as much as he is. I think he'd be fine as a depth piece in some role, some capacity as a defender, defensive piece. But JP, what is your grade for Yoro for the season? Where do you fall?
It's funny because I had a C-. I actually
That's where I was.
I have a C- for Johan Rojas, and yeah, like, you know, I think Jamie was spot on. I mean, obviously the dude can play center field. Like he's got a really good glove, and like that's like the one thing. Like how can you take that mentality you have out in center field and bring it over to the plate? Because once he gets to the bat, I mean, he just looks kind of lost at times, and he just loses it. It's pretty wild, but it's going to be tough to replace 2/3 of the outfield. So, I mean...
Yeah, you're probably only changing one, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's probably Johan.
And I think Marsh is the easiest solution is probably platoon Marsh in center and then get a new left fielder, but we'll see.
That'd be a plan that I'd be in on, but again,
it's gonna be. But Marsh also can't hit.
I know.
Lefties. So it's like there's imperfections everywhere.
They can hit righties.
At this point, pick your poison.
Johan can't hit either.
Yeah, and then do you want like basically like what you just brought up? The easiest solution is Brandon Marsh goes to center field.
Yeah,
he's an okay defensive center fielder. Has value in this league, yada yada. But you can't platoon him with Rojas then.
No,
because if you know Rojas can't really hit either, and if you're sitting Marsh every time he's facing a lefty, you need a platoon piece to supplement him. So it's like it's kind of a murky situation with center field.
We all silly like the mayor.